Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, right? So we get to go, Mike. Get my lights on. Everybody said when I first started this, the lighting that I did wasn't any good. So yeah, Wednesday, hump day. Hey, Mike, what day is it? Happy Wednesday. So we've been talking about creating lasting change, and there's 3 beliefs that have to happen in order for a permanent lasting change to occur in somebody. And if you stop a minute and think about something that you changed in your life, as we talked about yesterday, you lost weight, you quit smoking, you quit drinking, you made a financial decision, you ended a relationship, you changed a career path, you changed a job, anything. Think about the moment when you actually decided to make the change, because it actually happens in a moment. It happens in a heartbeat. When all of a sudden you make a decision, remember that comes from incision, to cut off, no other possibility. You make a decision that this is going to change. 3 beliefs happened. I don't know why my internet does that. Number 3, you believed that I must change it now. Now, even if your belief of whether or not you can change it was a little wishy-washy, if your belief of that it must change now is strong enough, it overpowers all of that. So that's leverage, right? When you get enough leverage that you've decided, I don't care what it takes, I don't care what it costs, I don't care how hard it is, you really overcome the fear, and you absolutely decide, I can't live like this anymore, and it's going to change. That's when leverage happens, and that's when you make the flip, and then suddenly you decide that you're in fact going to change. The way to do this for yourself, the way to get that leverage, because a lot of times we just wait around and wait for the universe to give us the leverage, right? We just sit in a situation where we're not happy, but we don't have enough leverage to actually change. And the way to get that leverage is to think about, what is it going to cost me if I don't change? So if you're in a situation where there's something that you've wanted to change for a long time and you've never gotten yourself there, then you've missed out on one of those beliefs. So you got to believe it must change, that I can change it, and that I must change it now. Okay? Those are your beliefs. The way that you get there is, what's it going to cost me if I don't change? So if you got something right now that you've wanted to change forever, sit down or do it later on today, but take out a piece of paper and think about, number 1, what has this belief or action or consequence or whatever cost you throughout your life since you've done it? The relationship, the finances, the weight, smoking, drinking, over drinking, drugs, alcohol, whatever. What does it cost you? And really feel the feelings as to what it's cost you. What does it cost your family? What does it cost you financially? What does it cost you in terms of your health? What does it cost you in terms of relationships? Have you lost a relationship because of it? What does it cost you in terms of your relationships to your kids? What does it cost in terms of opportunities to your kids? And then ask yourself, what is it going to cost me in the future? Let's say I don't change. Let's say I stay on the path that I'm on. What's it going to cost me down the road? What am I going to lose in 5 years? What am I going to lose in 10 years? Where's my life going to be in 20 years if I don't change this situation, if I just keep living life the way that I am? How am I going to feel? There's a great motivational speaker named Les Brown. If you've never had a chance to listen to him. He's a lovely man and a wonderful speaker. His story about he initially wanted to be a radio DJ, and his story about how he breaks into being a radio DJ is one of the great motivational stories that I've ever heard. It's hilarious, and when he tells it, it's fantastic. But he talks about it this way. He says, everybody that comes to this planet and lives this reality, this life, has a certain number of gifts, and they're given just to you. You have a certain number of gifts that you're supposed to share with the world. And he says, imagine that you're on your deathbed and your gifts are standing around you and you've never used them. And they say, we came to you and you were supposed to give the world these gifts. We were supposed to have a chance to go flourish throughout the world. And now we're going to die with you. These opportunities are going to die because you're going to die. If you do the rocking chair test, if you do the deathbed test, the rocking chair test is, imagine you're on the rocking chair at the end of a long life and you're looking back. What would you do? Do you want to look back and feel like I did everything that I could? I put every drop of effort into it. I squeezed every drop out of life. Or do you want to look back and say, well, I played it safe and I was afraid and so I didn't do these things. I decided instead to watch Netflix and eat whatever I wanted and stay in that relationship and not take the chance and not start my own business or not decide to sing or not decide to paint or not decide to become a stand-up comedian, whatever it is that is your real dream and your real passion. Or I decided not to lose the weight, or I decided to not quit smoking because I really didn't think that it was going to bother me. And now here I am at 60 and I've got lung cancer and I'm going to die and I'm going to miss out on my child's wedding. I'm going to miss out on my grandkids. That's the type of thinking that you have to do in order to get the leverage to create lasting change. The same thing as what we saw in A Christmas Carol. What is the pain of the past? What is the pain of the present? And then what is it going to cost me in the future? And when you take it out to the future, I think that that's where it really starts to hit home. You think to yourself, is this really how I want to live the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of my life? If you read Think and Grow Rich, one of the things Napoleon Hill, do I always get that right? Sometimes I mess that up. One of the things the writer of the book points out, and remember he wrote this, coming up on 100 years ago, is a lot of times people don't become significantly successful until they're a little bit later in life, 40 or 50 or 60. Warren Buffett, when he blew out the candles on his 50th birthday cake, was worth a fraction of what he's worth now. I mean, he was successful, but he was nothing near the multi-billionaire that he is now. And one of the reasons that is because there's a psychological shift that happens. Number one, there's an expectation. Well, I'm at an age where I deserve to have that level of success, but also there's a desperation, right? Because you're getting to the end and you're looking around going, okay, I'm in my 50s and I haven't accomplished what I want financially. I've never accomplished my goals financially. I better get going or it isn't going to happen. There's two ways for change to occur: inspiration or desperation. And either one will work. They're both very effective. The thing that you need to remember and that I want to convey with this is you don't have to wait for the world to give you the inspiration or the desperation to change. You can do it now. What the first step requires is those three beliefs. It must change, I can change it, and I must change it now. And if the belief about I can change it is a little lacking, that's okay. If the decision is that it must happen now, when that true internal decision, and when you make it, when you make that real decision where you're like, that's it, it's over, this is never going to happen, I'm done, I'm finished living this way. And when you make a decision like that, like we talked about before, it becomes effortless. Somebody that truly quits smoking it's not an effort for them to not smoke. That might take 30 days. There might still be a level of addiction for 30 days. But after that, they're never tempted. They're not tempted. Most people, the people that lose weight and keep it off forever, they made a decision to change their standard. And once that happened, they keeping the weight off is actually easy, because as soon as they get a little bit, like that plane going to Hawaii, as soon as they get a little bit off course, they immediately adjust. They don't let themselves get 400 miles off course and they have to bring it back. So think of something that you want to change. Let's turn this into more of an active interaction. Think of something that you want to change, that you've been trying to change for a long time. And that's an operative word, right? Trying to change. I've been trying to change for a long time. And then sometime today, write down, what has this cost me in the past? What is it costing me right now? And what is it costing me, and what is it going to cost me for the rest of my life? Imagine you're at the end of your life. You're looking at your spouse. You're looking at your children. You're looking at your grandchildren. How do you want them to look back at you? Do you want them to look back at you with pride, or do you want them to look back at you and be sad because of the decisions that you made? It's either inspiration or desperation. My last cliche for today, because this is one that I say to myself all the time. Your life can either be an example or a warning. And that's a belief that I hold completely dear. Your life can either be an example or a warning. You can be an example of what is great about this life and what can be done, or it can be a warning about what you should never do. So make a decision as to which one you want your life to be. Do you want to be an example or a warning? And by the way, those things can mean anything. That doesn't necessarily mean success financially. I'm just talking about living the life that you want to live. So today, pick something that you want to change, that you've wanted to change forever, and you've never gotten there. Write down everything it's cost you in the past, the present, and what it's going to cost you in the future. And then think to yourself, do I want my life to be an example or a warning? Then after you get done, we're always going to finish on something positive. Imagine the change has happened today, that you made that change, you made that shift. Then think about what your life would be for the next 10, 20, 40, 60, 80 years. By the way, there's a lot of evidence that if you're able to live healthfully for another 20 years, that we may double our life expectancy during that period of time. So if you're under the age of 60 and you're able to stay healthy, in particular if you're like 40, your life expectancy might actually be 120 if we keep going on the rate that we've been going. That could well become the case. So write down, if you make this change, everything that you're going to gain. How are you going to feel? How proud are you going to feel? How proud are your kids going to be? How proud is your spouse going to be? What are the opportunities in your life? What is your life like? Who are the people that are around you? So after you've done all the bad stuff, then write down everything that you'll gain. And don't try to do it consciously. Just let the pen go. And just write, I'll gain. Write down everything that you'll gain if you make this change now. And then tomorrow, we'll talk about step number 2. We're going to get through this, everybody. Things are starting to open up. Life is going to start to move into the new normal, whatever that is. Remember, we're going to put this all back together. It's just going to be different. We did it after 9/11. We put it all back together. It just is a little bit different. So everything's going to return in a different way. It's a great opportunity for all of us. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.